Thank you for joining us. Egoless presents a new relationship trek.
Definitely.
Yeah. My name's Karen Latinsky, and with me is Shannon Grace.
Hi there.
And yeah, we're going to just talk about a lot of different issues with relationships and how the ego affects it.
And a realization that Karen helped me have is that basically, like, I'm really good at helping people with relationships. And because and it's so funny because when we're doing what we do, we're just doing it. And we don't always have the conscious awareness of like what our specialty is, or like the finer details of what we're doing. Because I know for me, so much of what I do is intuitive, and I'm just getting insights and having light bulbs all over the place when I'm working with people. But sometimes like my conscious understanding of myself and what I'm doing, it's not always there because I'm just so like deep into the deepness.
Well, it's like you step back and just allow it to come through you, which is
right.
why I knew I had to do a relationship, or I wanted to do a relationship trek on the Egoless app. And when I started preparing for it, I absolutely had to have you. I was like, Shannon needs to be here with me for this, because out of any relationship advice I've ever had in my life up to this point, you have given me by far, bar none, the best relationship advice that I think is really important, that can help a lot of people.
And I wasn't even trying, and we were just having coffee and talking about life, and it just naturally, and like our relationships. And but it's so funny because like the intention wasn't even to do that or offer that. I just was talking like about whatever came to me to talk about. So I loved that Karen was like, whatever you said that day was like the best. So like it's like changed so many things. And I was like, I don't even remember what I said because it was just there in the moment to share. And I love that. And that's where the realization came. I was like, holy smokes, I am really good at helping people understand relationships and work through relationships
from such a different perspective than your average counseling session would come from. And it's just such a deep, energetically rooted perception that the world needs to hear.
So we talked more after that day when we got together again. We were talking about relationships, and I just realized, I was like, holy smokes, like I help with like marital relationships, but I also help with like parenting relationships and family relationships and community relationships.
And relationships with yourself.
And relationships with ourselves. And for me, like that's where it all began, because I really needed like I got to a point in my life where none of my relationships were in a good place at all. But my starting point was my relationship with myself. And everything just started to like change and shift and clear from there. So then I could work specifically on certain things that were external, but the most important was the internal relationship with myself as a starting point, which then leads to so many things and so much healing and so many shifts basically. So
well, and as soon as we met, which we talk about on a different podcast how we met, but as soon as we met, we just connected, and we knew that there was like work to be done.
Fast friends. Like it was like, oh good, you're here.
I
don't know why, but there's something that we're supposed to like do at some point together. And then we waited like a year, like we met, and then it was like a year or more went by, and then we reconnected, and I was like, I feel ready for whatever this is, Karen. And you were like, so do I. Like, I keep finding your business card, right? So it was like we met, but we weren't ready yet.
Yeah, we had some more inner work to do on ourselves.
And just more growth and more like getting ourselves figured out and like our own journeys and our own path.
Yeah.
And then we've reconnected again, and it's just like, and this and this and this and this and then this, and we're just like, we're hitting on so many, or connecting on so many levels with so many things now.
So it's been very exciting.
Yeah.
And even today, the fact that the stars just aligned and we were able to, this was very spur of the moment. But that's how I think things just work out the best, right?
I agree. And I definitely welcome you to explore this trek on relationships that I'll be providing to you and for you, and with the help of Karen, because she's so good at helping these realizations come forward and the message to come forward. So Karen and I will probably be partnering up on a lot of the different segments of this track, but I'm just really excited to jump in and to have you along with us. So
yeah, thank you so much for joining us. So regardless of what relationship issues you might be facing in your life, whether it's with somebody or in your marriage, or like you said, with your kids or with yourself, we hope to cover it all as much as we can from the deepest level possible. So that's our intention.
It's amazing how quickly things can shift when you're working at a deep level, and that is what I love, because I really didn't want, in my own life, I really didn't want my process of working through things to take forever, because I had so many things that needed work and so many things that I was like, I'm not happy with this, I'm not happy with this. Like when I made that decision to jump in and figure things out, I needed efficiency and I needed depth, and because there's just so, like, I had so many things that I wanted to work on, and that's what I learned, and that's now what I have to offer other people, where you can go very deep and set things free or shift things very, very quickly when you work at a different, what's coming to me is like when you work with truth.
Right.
And the truth does set you free in a very fast, not everything is about speed, but it's just like when you have those realizations, it just is so helpful, because you can feel yourself making progress. Like, I feel like progress is the key. You have to feel like you're making progress with whatever it is that you're working on, and I'm all about progress. So.
And one other thing that you're about, that I'm about as well, is that a huge part of healing your relationships is being accountable.
Yes.
And realizing that,
Ownership.
you, no matter how much you feel like you may be a victim to any conflict or whatever, you very much have a role in it. Yes. And I feel like that's where your counseling,
my approach
just really, really hit home with me, because that was different. A lot of times with a lot of other different types of schools of thought, it's a lot of like, oh no, this relationship is very unhealthy for you, get out of it, without actually being like, hey, wait a minute, why did I attract this in my life?
And one of my big questions is always like, what about me manifested this, or what about me caused this, or what about me is allowing this to continue to happen,
right? Or what about me needs to learn this lesson?
That's right. Yeah. So it is very much about ownership and accountability as well,
and that's where the ego butts in, and it's the ego's pointing all the fingers like, no, this was him being an asshole, this was her just completely being unreasonable. Or my 2-year-old, I just finished writing a blog on how kind of chaotic one of our days was, and I definitely felt like I was in an abusive relationship
with your 2-year-old. Well, for sure. And that's one thing with children that I found is like, our kids magnify all of our imbalance.
I think family, even if people who don't have kids, it seems too like the rest of their family. But
but kids also, especially, kids also have a way of just like magnifying those dysfunctions and those imbalances and the lessons. They bring the lessons out in a hurry.
In a nice, uncomplicated way, at least. That's children do, compared to,
and that's why we keep them,
adults,
because they do it. It's like they're just there. Like whereas with adults, if an adult was doing that to us, we would probably run away.
Yeah.
Right. But because it's children, or because it's pets, even, it's like they're so loving and they're so adorable and they're so precious that you don't run away
Right.
because of that connection that you have with them. However, our connection with adults, I find, often isn't as
pure sometimes.
Isn't like there's not as much of a bond there sometimes. So rather than learn the lesson, it's easier to run.
And then you miss the lesson.
That's right.
too,
And then you learn
so.
it with someone else.
Yeah.
'Cause
So,
it's
and
the
that will
same
bring
thing.
us to another episode that we'll maybe we
Yeah,
should do that
I was
one
like, we
next.
won't go into everything all at once,
but that will be
it's a little bit
this key advice that you gave me that anyone in a relationship, even if you're not in a relationship, everybody needs to hear this advice that I'm calling it the swirls because that's the way I remember it, the way you told me. We'll do that episode next, but thank you so much for learning about what this trek is about, and stay tuned. We've got a lot of really good stuff coming your way.
You betcha. We'll see you soon.